Hey!
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Hope you've been having a good weekend. I know we've had a pretty crazy weekend ourselves.
Very busy. We started it out with an epic Dungeons and Dragons adventure in the underworld.
Yes, on Friday.
We did very well with that. That was super fun. And then yesterday we went to Bricks by the Bay.
Yeah, so Bricks by the Bay Virtual was yesterday. I know we talked about it earlier in the week, and I actually was so excited to see a bunch of folks from TrickyLug over there and in Bricks by the Bay and hanging out. It was really cool. So
we love Bricks by the Bay. It's our home convention. Did I put them away? I guess I put them away. 2016 was our first year there, and we've been every year since. That was our first convention at all.
Yeah, so we did. We sat in on Minifig Chick. Did a class about jewelry making, and a roundtable about jewelry making, and Corey Sams was there from Lego Masters. That was awesome. He talked about his stuff.
Yeah, his Sam's Brago pins.
Marilyn Parmley was there. She was showing her earrings and stuff that she makes.
Yeah, and a how-to.
Yeah, and then we did, and then in the evening, Richard and I hosted a Lego Masters panel where we talked all about our journey to Lego Masters, how we got there, and
that was super really fun. We kind of dug in, right?
Yeah, and we got to see a bunch of people. So
lots of behind the scenes on that one.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. So, and I know that they were recorded, so I'm hoping
that would be cool.
They'll post those.
Maybe the Parmleys know about that. Hi, Steve Parmley.
Hi, Steve.
Marilyn Parmley both have huge contribution to Bricks by the Bay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And let's see who is in the chat today. Hello, chatters. Apples is here. Hi, Brickanista. Brickaroo Bonsai. Cornado is here.
How's it going? Cornado.
Okay, Bricks. Hey, Eric. How's it going? Holly is here, and we'll be on here in a minute. And Hooded One, Insane Lego Fan, JMW Music, Christopher Coster, whose names are highlighted in the.
That's interesting.
Somehow.
Your names are highlighted today.
Lisa Head is here. Hey, Lisa. Marilyn. How's it going?
Hey, Marilyn.
Talking about you,
had
Michelle.
A busy day yesterday.
That's right. Michelle Hainline, Minifig Chick, of course.
Yay.
MJ, how's it going, MJ and Pablo? Shane Levan is here. Hi, Shane. Steve Parmley, after working an exhausting day, or 2 days doing Bricks by the Bay, is here with us today. The Brick Orphanage is here. Wilfred, bonsoir. Let me see who else. Imari.
Wow, that's a new name. Welcome.
Hi, welcome to the chat. Everybody give a big welcome. And Zonker Harris is here.
Yay, Zonker Harris, who also did workshops yesterday.
Yeah, you did a micro-scale workshop that was really great. And I know you saw we did our micro-scale thing here, but Zonker's a really amazing micro-scale builder. He's way levels above us.
It's one of his major art forms, I think.
And
he has so many.
He does.
He made this thing for the Maker Faire that I thought was so fun. It was just it kind of encapsulates his high-tech and super fun thing. Remember the high five machine?
Yes.
It was a slide with a seat on it, and you raise the seat up the slide, and an electromagnet would hold, and then your friend would stand down here at the bottom, and you would say go, and you'd press a button and go like this, and you'd high five your friend. And people of all ages, and it had lights on it. It was great.
It was delightful, and it was great watching everybody's reactions, because it seemed you're
it's like
a high five machine.
It goes down. It was so fun,
and it was so fun, and people enjoyed it so much. It was a whole thing. It was great.
Exactly, like a 3-second ride.
Yes, it was really great.
I got allergies.
Excuse me. Me too.
Did a bunch of dusting and what have you.
Oh, Kim is here. Zarakino, how's it going?
Now, should we say hi to people in the? Should we welcome people on, or should we do our pins first?
We'll do our pins first, and then we'll get. And now look, Hooded One is. Oh, I think that was just some sort of.
You highlight people, I think.
Oh well,
look, Dan Bakken's here too.
Oh, Dan Bakken.
And is that a new name too?
Yeah, Garrett, Amy Gross, welcome. Another new name.
Lots of
Welcome,
people
welcome.
joining. Well, it's kind of brunch time.
Marade is here.
We start 10-ish.
Yeah, so Kim, I don't know. It seems like that, like our list of participants. Bill Ward is here. Hey, Bill Ward and
Bill.
Brickanista. Our list is alphabetical, so if people show up, like they come into the list in alphabetical, and if we're reading down, it's easy to miss. It's ridiculous.
Well, hi to everyone who chats and doesn't chat, and on YouTube and on Facebook today too.
Always
on Facebook.
Yep, we're
as well.
always doing a simultaneous multi-stream.
So this is a pin, Disney pin that I've worn before on a previous challenge, and I thought I knew what it was. I was like, oh, of course, that's the Matterhorn, right? Of course, it's the Matterhorn. No, because if you look close, it says Mater Hawk.
You know what that is, right?
What is it?
I'm pretty sure that's Cars.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure that character is the one that is voiced by Larry the Cable Guy.
Really?
Yes.
And who plays?
I just want you to know.
Who plays Larry the Cable Guy, Flynn?
I don't know his name.
Oh,
Larry
I don't know either. All right.
I don't know.
I thought you know. I thought you were going to say Jim Carrey.
You were asking me like you knew.
No, I was trying to float one by there, and then he would say, and then I'd be like, yeah, I knew. So this is a 2014 Hidden Mickey series pin. It's from Mater's Junkyard Jamboree Signs, and the character's name is Toe Mater. But I made it into this Mater Hawk, like it was another
you thought it was like German,
another language
or
something. I did that in a sandwich shop once, right? I was like, we're up there, we're looking at the sandwich, and there's this like Fujita.
Oh no! Don't.
What is it?
Don't.
Fujita, and I asked for it because it had great ingredients. I'd like a Fujita Buddha. She said, "You mean the forget about it?" Overcorrecting.
Oh my goodness.
Right? One of the many moments when Flynn is so proud to be standing next to him at the cashier or with the waitress.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so well, first, before I show my pin, I want to do a shout out. Joel is here. How's it going, Joel? Welcome. And am I correct? Is it your birthday today, Joel? Or am I wrong? I could be wrong about that, but I think that's true.
What?
You may confirm or not in the chat as you like. And then also I wanted to welcome to Gergonzola, who's new here. And Gergonzola says, hi guys, loving your channel and discovering this amazing AFOL community. I'm still back on number 46. Oh wow, you're like deep in the archives.
Oh yeah.
But wanted to say hi while you're live today. Thanks for keeping me company while I sort. Oh well, thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad. Sorting is a great thing to do. We should go back and watch previous episodes and sort. We have a vault of unsorted bricks.
Yeah, I don't think I would be.
We'd have to listen to. We could watch it, but it would have to be on silent. We could just watch the comments.
Yes. All right. So what I've got is, and I was actually really excited about this. I got this as an early trade one day, and I think it was just a starter pin, but it's so good. And it's it's Disneyland.
It's gonna do it. Look,
World of Color.
Did it focus?
Oh, almost.
Here.
It's pseudo focus. There we go. There we go. With Ariel.
Get out of there.
And the World of Color Ferris wheel. It's really cool. I just really like it. Sebastian's on there too.
I love that. I think they did such a great job with that sort of boardwalk in California Adventure.
Yeah, well, it's just colorful.
Yeah. You know, so we've been collecting the last couple times we've been to the parks, thanks to Minifig Chick and Paint Pusher, who got us started with that. And I made a huge discovery in the game of trading stuff like this. Is I didn't have to have my forever pin, and then it was suddenly I was trading and
trade up and up and up.
Trade up. This is a little bit. Mater Hawk is a little bit better.
Oh my goodness!
Right, and Lego. Right, we talk about Lego here too. Eventually,
sometimes. So speaking of
Yes.
Yeah. Speaking
what
of...
happened to our little brick collection thing here?
So people are asking about my t-shirt. This is actually from Planet Terror, and it was not, I know somebody said it was Tarantino. It's actually not Tarantino. It is Robert Rodriguez. But they did the two movies together, and Tarantino did the other one on the bill. But this is the one with, a new subscription. Awesome. Welcome, new subscription.
Yay.
So, speaking of new subscriptions, we have a big announcement tomorrow regarding new subscriptions. You're gonna want to be here for this.
It's kind of big, right?
Yeah, it is kind of big. We got our package from Lego yesterday, the thank you gift for our the photographs that we did, the UFO photos. You guys.
We're so excited.
Yeah, so...
Okay, so that's on tomorrow's show.
That's on
right?
Tomorrow's show. That's right.
Yeah, and you were about to say so the two-part movie that this was a part of.
Oh yes, and this one
worthwhile if you like,
ridiculous like 70s style,
absurd, over the top, and isn't what's his name? Danny Trejo is in it too, right?
He's not. Not in this one, no. But the guy who played Saeed in Lost is in it.
Yeah, don't they have? Isn't there?
He's in a fake trailer. But it's not in this. It's not in this movie. It was played in between. If you saw it in the theaters, it was like a double feature. Yeah. So no, I can't tell you. I'm not going to tell you what we got because it's all tied into what's going to happen with our subscription drive that we're doing. We talked about wanting to get to 2,000 subscribers, so that's all I'm going to say about that. All right. So
teasers, it's true.
I know it's a
cliffhanger.
You'll have to tune in tomorrow. All right, so we are going to. I think we should get started on our show today.
Yeah, we have a lot of cool stuff to talk about.
We had a person in the waiting room, but now she's not
they
here,
went away.
But...
We took so long on Disney pins. They said, I'm not going to talk about Lego anymore. Okay, who's with us?
It's Holly. Hi, Holly. That's right. We have to put in our thing here, and we have to turn you up. I know everybody's going to go, she doesn't have any volume. There we go. I think you have now volume.
Okay, let's do a sound check as everyone. Let's get some confirmation from the chat if the sound is all good.
Your mic sounds a little hot to me, Holly.
But we also have terrible headphones that are terrible. So
all right, what if I just sit back a little bit? How's this?
That seems good to me.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Listen to how everyone else is. Oh, Hooded One is here too.
Any thumbs up from the chat? Does sound check? Oh, that's loud. Okay.
Sound check.
Okay.
Ding, 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 ding.
Two, check. Two.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Hooded One says that's loud.
Yeah, I turned it down a little bit.
Okay.
It's always a struggle. You never know what this is going to be like.
Look at your studio and your fancy lighting and all this, and you have your collection so organized behind you.
Getting there. That's what I'm working on this weekend. So we'll see how much progress I make. If I can show anything beyond this.
Yeah, exactly. Don't look beyond our frame here.
Yeah. You can even see some of it in the frame. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yes, it's a little loud, but it's good. I can lower her volume a little bit more, and we can do that. See, we like to work with everyone here. Make sure.
I just sit back. I'll just be back here.
We get to see more of your cool shirt.
I know.
Yeah. Hopefully a couple of people recognize it.
Yes. I'm sure everyone recognizes it. How would they not? I mean, that's part of why we're here today. That's right. So, yeah, there it is. Now, I saw we had Jake in the waiting room, and now he has disappeared. So
he will be back momentarily. He gave me a heads up. I told him I would stall. So I will show my Disney pin in the meantime.
Oh, cool! Awesome. I love it. I told him I would stall. Perfect.
Wow, TrickyBricks likes your setup too, Holly.
Thanks, guys. Okay, so my pin today is this one.
Yay!
Adventure is out there, guys.
I love those so much. There's a really great one.
That would have to be up, right?
Yes. There was a great one that we saw that had the dog on it, and it had a little spinner with words on it, and it said, like, I love you, and one of them said squirrel, and yeah, you could like spin it to be like the many moods of that.
Perfect. I need that one.
Oh my goodness. So, do we? Oh, we have stickers, I think, right?
We do have stickers today. Yeah,
Hello.
and this one at first. Oh well, why don't we have Holly go first with hers?
Oh yeah, Holly, if you have yours.
Gosh, now I'm trying to remember which ones I've already shown. I'm starting to lose track.
Oh yeah, we
Me
know
too.
all about that.
We have a shopping cart for new ones coming in. They're surprisingly challenging to get. They don't, finding them apart from the sets is harder than you would think.
Yeah, this one's cool. Okay, I was actually going to show this one from a Ninjago set that I just picked up. It was like, I have no idea what the set name or number is. It was like a Blade Runner type car.
Yay.
And then, of course, my son already grabbed a few off the sheet, so that's what's left. It's pretty cool, though. I actually love that they give you extras. There's like where it says the little plus sign there. Those are just extra.
Oh,
Extra
cool.
stickers.
Can you hold the upper part where you're holding? Can you hold that closer?
Let's see. Let's do it like that.
Yeah. That's cool.
Very nice.
Is that like, it's not graffiti, is it? Am I looking at graffiti?
No, I think they're supposed to be. It's like stickers of stickers. I think they're supposed
got
to
it.
be for like decals on the car, kind of like a race car sort of thing. But it's just
Yeah.
Hey, so, sorry, just so everybody in the chat, I'm trying really hard on the sound here. It's hard when there are multiple people have control over the sound and different people's microphones are different levels. So really, I'm doing my best. I apologize.
Get that going.
What? I don't have that here, unfortunately. But
Yeah,
anyway.
Wilfred Squirrel. I heard that one go by.
Okay, so let's do.
Yes, we've got vehicles as well today. This is from 2017. It's set 42072, 7.75 by 8 studs small. With 135 parts, this was the Lego Technic WHACK. WHACK Formula One car. It had fat wheels and a pullback motor. For a little car, it was a cool little super fat wheels.
Yeah, you can tell that we've reached the end of our sticker collection because we're showing the cars.
They're all cars, it's true.
The ones that we like.
We're getting some exciting ones from out in the world.
It's too good.
I'll have some pretty good ones. Don't worry.
All right, so we are actually. Golly, I don't know who to ask on first. Actually, I do know who to ask on first. So the reason we are here today is to actually talk about the process of Lego ideas and what it's like putting up a set or a project there, trying and working hard to get the votes, and then the whole process of going through. And we have we have two people today who are sort of like on either side at right now of the approval process. So I thought it'd be interesting to have both of their perspectives on what's that like. And one of them, of course, is Holly, and the other one is Jake Sadovich, who we're super excited to have on today. Hey, Jake.
Jake.
Whose audio is connecting? Here we go.
There he is.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Jake, I don't think we've met before. I'm Richard. Oh, maybe, no,
Yeah,
we
we
did.
met
Yeah,
we
we-
met
yes.
we met in person at that crazy Bricks Cascade.
Yes. Yep.
This is our first time meeting virtually.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jake was actually one of the first people I met at Bricks Cascade too.
Huh. That's right.
So you're like the welcome wagon of Bricks Cascade, is what you're telling me. you and James Ritzman, whose birthday it is today, by the way. Happy birthday,
James.
Yeah,
Happy birthday.
so that's awesome. So Jake, as you may or may not know, but you should know, is the creator of the Ship in a Bottle project, which was, I think, the first ideas set we ever bought. And it is on display in our living room. We don't keep much
Nice.
Lego in the living room, but it's
Right.
one of our display pieces in the living room. And then also you have something that's up on Lego Ideas now, the pedal car, which is
Yeah.
amazing, and we've shown several times on the show. And if anybody can put a link to that in the chat, that would be awesome, so that people can go check that out. And if you haven't seen it before, folks, this is the amazing Ship in a Bottle model that I just, and I'm really also, Jake, I got to tell you, I'm really bad about taking parts off of things, models that are put together because I need them. And there are so many times I've been tempted to use one of these globes and I just can't bring myself to take it apart.
You have to have 3 of those sets.
This is the only official Lego set on display in our living room.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I kid you not. My husband, like, not too long ago, was just like asking, like, inquiring as to why I needed, more than one of those.
Because you need 6 globes.
Yeah,
and and real quick. We have, I just wanted to, of course, we have, Moto is here also.
Yay, Moto.
To hang out and talk about Lego stuff. But now that we've finished fanboying out on Jake, which we tried really hard not to do at Bricks Cascade. But, so, hi, Moto.
I'm here to fanboy out over Jake. That's why. Jake, welcome. It's first time I've ever seen you in person. Thank you.
Yep.
Sort of.
So let's talk a little bit about Lego ideas in general. So a lot of people put stuff up on Lego ideas of varying degrees of awesomeness, or I should say varying degrees of skill levels.
Yeah.
How about that? That's
they're probably all awesome.
Yeah, just there's and varying skill levels. So what? And also too, I know that some people just put their picture up on the website and walk away, and then they're like, oh, I only got 100 views on it or whatever, and didn't get the votes, and now I'm never going to do it again. But so I'm interested, Jake and Holly. But Jake first, had you submitted things to Lego Ideas prior to this?
Prior to the ship in a bottle, no.
Yes. Oh, wow. First timer.
Excuse me. I had actually not even gone on Ideas. I was aware of kind of what it was. I had seen some of the sets out, but I hadn't even gone on there to check it out until I posted my original ship in a bottle on Facebook, which was actually I think it was the first thing that I posted on Facebook was that model. And the first pictures I posted, it wasn't even complete. Like the name badge wasn't even fully there. But I was really excited about it, and I was really happy with how it was turning out. So I posted it, and it was so popular, and people suggested that I put it on there. So I spent the next week maybe kind of thinking about it, and then I looked through the rules and decided to go ahead and just put it up there, basically on a whim, on advice from people on Facebook.
That's pretty good. Well, I have to say, Facebook is a pretty good litmus of like whether.
Yeah.
And and Holly, what about you? Have you submitted anything prior to Coraline House?
Oh nope. I mean, I was very much familiar with Ideas. I think I've acquired almost every set going back to the first like Mars, like going back to Kusu actually. I never got my hands on the Mars rover. I tried, but I couldn't get a hold of that one. But I think I have pretty much every one of them since then. So I'm a big supporter of the Ideas format and all that. But I didn't initially build the Coraline House for Ideas. That was something that just didn't really occur to me until way later in the design process. It was more of just like a test project that I was like trying to learn how to use some digital tools, and it was just something that had been kind of one of those many things that I had planned to build was in the back of my head, and I was using that as a test, and it just kind of kept going and going and going. Usually I don't finish things. I'll start a lot of things and not finish them, and then this was one that once I got so far along and kind of got excited about it, and that I think it was somewhere midway in the process that it occurred to me it might be a good project for Ideas.
So you didn't even, when you started building it, you weren't building it for a con or really with any audience in mind. It was really for you that you were building this.
100%, yeah. I really just wanted it like up here in this lineup of my modulars. I have a bunch of all the modular buildings. So I built it kind of to that standard and to fit in between buildings. Because for me, it was just like an iconic building that I wanted in my own little town, and that's how it started.
Well, was it specifically? I don't know how to word this. Was it specifically as Lego as that you designed it, or was it to have a reference model for digital work that you were, you know, that you were doing?
No, it was just a Lego model. I had seen the building on set back when I first started working at Leica. I don't know how many people have like heard this story, but yeah, I started working at Leica about 11 years ago, I guess, when it was in production. I did not work on it. That's the misnomer. A lot of people think I worked. There's the one Leica film I did not work on because I work in a CG department, and there really wasn't that much CG on that film. It was really mostly practical. So I was working in production or pre-production for other films at the same time that Coraline was in production. But I had friends that worked on it, and they brought me in to kind of tour around and got to see everything like behind the curtain. And that was like the one thing that really made an impression, was seeing the practical house. It's really massive and beautiful. And I think from the moment I saw it, or not long after, it just inspired me to want to build a Lego model of it. So, but it wasn't until like years later that I got around to it.
How fun.
It's so good. And I want it for my, like, we've been collecting all the haunted houses and spooky houses, and I need this to go in, like, in my neighborhood of all gray and brown and olive green houses. That means
yeah,
a nice
that's
big
kind
pink
of the funny
house.
thing. It's the pink seems to throw people off, right? Because they think it's just this pretty girly little dollhouse if they don't know the context. And it's like the juxtaposition, of the bright pink with like the horror content of the film is kind of brilliant, actually.
Right? So, okay, so let's talk a minute about.
I'm going to pause for a moment and get us coffee.
Oh, yeah, coffee. If anybody needs coffee, grab your coffee. Everybody's taking a coffee break. But I did want to ask, and we can start with Jake, but so once you, like I was talking about before, once you put your project on ideas, that's not the end of the project, right? Like once you get it up there, you actually have to do some work. So can you talk a little bit about what and I'm sure yours and Holly's experiences are the same but kind of different. So I'm just curious, like, what your experience was, kind of getting out there and getting the votes, as it were.
Yeah, you definitely have to advertise it. Sorry, I focuses up, but whatever. You definitely have to get as many people to click that link as you can. So you might get 10 people see your post and 1 or 2 will click through the link. And then of course they also have to create an account, and that only takes a couple of minutes, but you're going to lose a lot of people who click the link and then go, oh, okay, I don't have time for that. So you need as many eyes on your project as you can get. So as far as what I did, I joined a bunch, probably like 30 different Lego groups on Facebook at that time, and shared it everywhere that I could. And a few groups that I joined weren't Lego specific groups. Since it was a ship in a bottle, I looked for ship in a bottle enthusiast groups and found some.
Oh,
and
smart.
Like plastic ship modeling, just anywhere that was close to the genre that you're going for, you want to add those too, and not just the Lego community, because you can get some support there too.
Well, and and Jake, it's true also, I know that a lot of the Facebook groups actually like don't allow people to like promote their Lego ideas stuff on the pages, right? So
yeah, there's several. So when you go join a bunch, you want to look at the rules or contact an admin and check. To some that do allow them, if the post is kind of over sales, like kind of a hard sales post, they won't let that, even though they let you put the link in there. So you just got to be courteous to everyone. You can post the link and say, hey, here's what I'm doing. Please go support it if you like it, and call it good at that.
Yeah, well,
that was the advice actually when I first met Jake at Bricks Cascade. Bricks Cascade was my first convention, and the purpose was to promote my ideas project. So I think that's why someone introduced me to Jake, because they said, oh, Jake Sadovich is here, and he just got the ship in the bottle through, so he would probably be a good person to ask for advice. So we had that exact conversation of like, okay, how does this work? And so I did exactly that. I went and found like Facebook groups for like doll houses and things like that that were not just all Lego or just all Coraline fans. I kind of tried to figure out, okay, if you don't know what Coraline is and you're not already a Lego fan, like who else would be interested in this? So I kind of went down those different paths as well. And it was always like a little bit at a time. I don't know if Jake already explained the math, but you basically get like 5 to 10% of people who will visit the page that will actually follow through with submitting an email and supporting it. So you have to have millions of people looking at this thing. So that's a tricky thing because you almost like have to spam it to get that number. I mean, you just have to get it in front of so many people, but you also don't want to be obnoxious about it because if you're obnoxious and then it turns people off, and you want people to want to support it and to want to share it. So I would only try to post it, like. In fact, I even kind of did it different weeks, so people's feeds weren't just like constantly seeing the same thing over and over again. Like one week I would post it on A Falls of Facebook, and then another week I would post it on, the modular building Facebook page, and then another week I would put it on something completely irrelevant. And then it's also, so Lego Ideas gives you, for people who submit their projects, it gives you statistics. You can kind of see like what works and what doesn't. So if you post something one day and you get a big bump, then you kind of know that that's working. And if you post it somewhere else and you get no hits, then it's kind of like not worth continue down that path.
I understand to a tiny degree that balance between being very excited about a project and wanting to share that with people and being like, this is so cool, like we do with our show, right? We want to be like, hey, come check it out. We're really excited about this project we're doing. But we also don't want to spam our Facebook feed, and the show was on every day, so you don't want to be like, hey, I'm the... Waka waka waka.
Yeah, I mean, and I did. I mean, and we did it. I did it first because I didn't know any better, and we were doing it like every day. And but I also attribute that to how we got as many people as we have now. And also I think it was a little different because we had, we were just starting in lockdown and people were really looking for like stuff to occupy themselves. But now, I mean, on my personal page, I only promote like stuff with special guests like y'all and Matthew Ashton. Like those are the ones that I put on like my actual page, and everything else goes on. By the way, Justin Ramsden is here.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say Justin Ramsden showed up, so it must be working.
Yes.
I'm curious, for both of you, Holly and Jake, you reached out to all of these different communities, like the Ship in the Bottle community and the Dollhouse community that weren't Lego based. Did you have contact with those people? Were they like, because the people in the train club that are part of our lug is kind of half Lego train enthusiasts and half, A-Falls and T-Falls. Get a lot of respect from the from the regular model train community and have won awards. Like, we can't believe you guys do this in Lego. Were you connected in that way with those people?
I'll let Jake go first.
Kind of. I think I probably joined 2 or 3 Ship in a Bottle groups when I first found them. And I had a positive response. I mean, you could scroll down and look at other posts and see that they were way higher because it was just something new and different that was kind of coming into their thing. Because I had just joined them, like, to promote my thing. But then I joined another one maybe a week later because I found another one, and I was going to post in there, and I saw that a guy who was in one of the other ones I had already shared in, he had already shared it to some other groups that I didn't even know about. So I had some support like that, and I didn't get really any flack. It was maybe a less popular post than their regular ones, but there was definitely some support there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that crossover, like the Venn diagram between different interests.
Yeah.
How about you, Holly?
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly. There's so much crossover between Lego and like miniature, model makers, like people who make doll houses. I think we touched on that a little bit the other day. I actually started following a Facebook group for doll houses. I think if you search doll houses or something, you'll find it. There's tons of people in it, and it's incredible the work that they're doing. Of course, it reminds me a lot of the work that's being done at my work.
Right, of course.
Miniatures and models. So yeah, so there was a lot of crossover with like just miniature makers and people who make stuffed dollhouses anyway, of course, they were excited about it. And of course, the Leica community was ridiculously excited about it. That was just a hard community to tap into because it's not already like really commercialized. Like, of course, anytime you make something with the Disney brand on it, that's pretty easy to get out there, and people will pick that up and share it because, like, who isn't a Disney fan, you know? But
Right.
Leica fan is a little bit tougher because there's not already like a huge, like, you know, there aren't products out there really for Leica fans. So again, making people aware of it was the hardest part. But then once people discovered it, they just completely lost their minds.
Well, but to be fair too, right? The like Coraline is arguably the most popular of all the of the Leica movies, right?
Yeah, I don't think anybody would argue that.
I mean, not necessarily with me, because you know which one's my favorite. There's no secret about that. But it's very popular, and you know Neil Gaiman has his following, so and I know he's posted about the project too. So
that's another thing too is you know, talking about getting support for these things. Sometimes it really only takes that one person. Like if you get the one person that has like a huge following that's legitimately interested and shares it, sometimes that's all it is. I mean, I've seen some of these projects that there was like the Ratatouille project that hit 10,000 overnight because basically Patton Oswalt like tweeted about it. It's again, you have enough of a fan base and you get the one person that shares it. Sometimes you don't have to do a lot of promoting. But then it's just almost like being in the right place at the right time with the right idea. It's a lot of things kind of converging, but I certainly wouldn't count on that. If you're submitting something to ideas, you can't.
Right.
It is not. It really isn't like a set it and forget it and then expect it, you know, to get it there.
I'd like to ask you both, and again, I think you're on different sides of this now. What you think about, obviously you really like your model a lot. I hope after all of this work you're still in love with your model. What is it like to give up some control in order for it to actually come to market? Because the kind of thing that, you know, an AFOL might design isn't necessarily what can make it into a set. So, I mean, tell me about that. Maybe Jake could go first, and Holly, you're just starting with this, right?
I wouldn't really know about that yet, so yeah, I'll let Jake.
But I'm interested in your perspective, if your concerns. Like anyone who spends, you know, weeks on set on a film and then has that scene cut, you know, has to be a little heartbroken.
Well, and I also know there are some things, just so everybody out there knows, there are some things that they cannot talk about in the actual process of getting done. So just so you know, we're not going to be talking about that kind of behind the scenes stuff. So any questions that we ask, and obviously whatever you can answer, and if you can't, that's okay too.
Sure.
Right. So as far as like the changes, when I first saw the concept model for what was going to be the set versus my set, I was pretty surprised, just because it's roughly like half the size of my original build.
Wow.
But I also understand at the same time, like my original build is, it's really quite fragile. There was some really long unsupported seams, like the length of the bottle. So that was something they would have to figure out. So it had the fragility issues, and then there's kind of a, okay, I can't talk about that. I was about to say something and I realized maybe that was kind of under the tip.
Yeah.
Can't go there.
But fragility, that's a huge one.
Yeah, because that's really one of the things that for mass producing it, they have to, that's one of the big keys you got to take into consideration is can everyone build it? And then if there was like some hard tech, like I have hand tied rigging strings in the bottle, and that'd be something that might be frustrating for some, you know, or else it would have to be using the studded strings and they'd look too thick and wouldn't look that great. So it was basically completely redesigned. There was very little, I think maybe the sails and the masts were kind of the same technique. Other than that, like Tiago had to completely recreate this. But kind of knowing the rules, if you familiarize yourself with the rules going in, you kind of know that that's all up that's all up for change and consideration. So it doesn't bother me that it was completely changed. In fact, I think it's kind of cool because they had to go through that much effort and go through a whole bunch of different designs, that they were so into the project and they wanted to do it, that they would actually produce it, even though it was a complete redesign, that all the work that they would have to go through. So I was actually kind of stoked that it went through with some of the things that went through on it.
Well,
because they had to bring back one old mold that hadn't been used in like 19 years or something, and then they had the loose studs in the bottom, which they had done it in a couple sets, like a snow globe, but it's maybe less than 10 parts, not 200 and something.
Yeah, right.
So I totally stoked all around.
Yeah, to see how behind it they are. I guess it's a closer translation than if you wrote a book and they made a movie out of it. But there's different requirements. So how cool then that you get to go to a store and see, like, you're like, this is the thing I made too.
Yeah. So Jake, there's a question in the chat which I already know the answer to, but somebody's asking how you felt about the initials of the Lego designer of the ship and the bottle being on the model rather than your own, which I happen to have a little tile with
right.
Jake.
Yeah, it would be super awesome to have my initials on an official piece, but again, Tiago designed the set, so it really doesn't bother me that much. Because in the end, my initials aren't on it, but there's the set that my picture's in the book. And I gotta get paid for, so who cares?
And now it's a prized possession. You get a hold of one of those tiles with Jake's initials on it.
So I have some leftovers. I've got to find them. A couple of people were asking me for them, but I don't know where they're at.
So fragility, we're talking about fragility is interesting because I know a lot of times when we build stuff, it is, expressly meant to sit on a table and be looked at from a distance. You know what I mean? So, so I'm wondering how much, and maybe even more for Holly, how much did you think about that, like, that stability issue while you were making it? Well, because when you were making it, though, you didn't intend for it to go on Lego Ideas in the first place, Holly, I know, right? So what was that something that you thought about once you put it up and you were like, oh wait, there's that one impossible thing that I've done, and how's that gonna fly?
That illegal move.
Well, I mean, for me, I think the building itself lends the nature of what I built makes it fairly easy to make it stable. Like, I built it like you would a regular Lego building, so everything's locked in pretty good. So I didn't really have any stability issues, and any stability issues there were quickly discovered as I started taking it to shows. Once I started exhibiting it, then I was starting to find some weak points. But actually, it's held together pretty well, and it's designed to be kind of modular too. Like there's parts of it that come off, so each room is kind of like its own little what do you call it, a habitat almost. So, like each little part comes off. And yeah, I don't know that I didn't think about it in terms of it being redesigned or going into ideas initially. I just kind of built it to be sturdy just because that's how you build things.
Right, of course. And so real quick, it is since we're kind of at a pause point right now. I think it's that certain time of the day. I don't know, Holly. I don't know, Jake, if Holly clued you in on what's about to happen, but
watches these. Jake's a regular.
Oh, that's right. What am I saying? Goodness, I'm so silly. Of course. All right. Anyway, it's that certain time of the day, everybody.
Sunday morning.
Get me off the spotlight here.
Yep. Here we go. Oh my goodness. It is that certain time of the day.
Look, see the camera. See him smile? Wagging his tail.
Oh, good boy, Logan.
Catch one too?
All right. Yay, Logan. Yay, Skittles.
Yay.
And it's Jake drink time as well.
Yep, might as well.
Gotta take
Take
a
my
break.
opportunity.
Again.
Woo! Oh my goodness.
She's dirty. I'm gonna put her down.
Yay! All right. Logan cookie time.
That's all you get.
I love that Matthew Ashton brought out his Prince Puppycorn plush when we did Logan Cookie Time. When it was really good. Okay, so golly, we did. I did want to point out we had a question a little while back from Papa Bear, and that's a new name in the chat. So hi, welcome, Papa Bear. Well, this is just sort of like a rules thing. LEGO does not allow for idea sets to be accepted from already created LEGO lines. Is that correct? Like Ninjago, Nexo Knights, stuff like that. Yeah, I believe that is true. Now, I know that there are definitely some questions surrounding, like, you know, oh, well, you know, they did, you know, LEGO does Disney stuff, but somebody submitted the haunted house that made it to, like, the approval, or, you know, to the voting stage. So it seems a little squishy. Do you know anything about that at all?
Yeah, I'm not sure on that particular one, but it could have already been uploaded before those rule changes went into effect. So they don't. Anything that was already up before rules like that changed didn't necessarily get booted. So it could have made it and then got cut because of that. So I think mostly, as far as that, it's kind of any open IPs. Like, you can't do Star Wars, or now that Harry Potter was back in production, you can't do that. If something, say, if Harry Potter, I believe, say if they take a break on it, they have the license, but they're not actively producing products for it, I think then you can.
Okay.
So mostly that's based
cool.
on open IPs that they're currently using. Like if they're currently producing a Lamborghini, for example. Well, no, I think I've seen actually some cars, so I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, well, and
But again, the Lamborghini's pretty new, so some of those other Lamborghinis could have already been on there.
Got it.
When
Well,
that came out.
Well, I know a lot of those questions came about because the Flintstones set came out like right around the time that rule change happened, and everybody was like, but hey, what about that? I was like, well, it had already been, you know, going. But, you know, like they just did a Sesame Street one, which got approved, which I'm so excited for.
Yeah.
But, so it's interesting. I mean, and I know, like, the Muppets are owned by Disney. So there's...
Everything's owned by Disney.
Right, well, there's that. Yay, Muppets.
It is actually pretty granular, though, I think. Just like, you know, the Ratatouille project went through. I mean, Disney owns Pixar, and there's been Pixar, you know, sets out. Like, we just had Toy Story 4 sets and all that stuff, but somebody still was able to get Ratatouille through into the 10,000. So it's not really an umbrella policy. I think it is pretty granular to a certain degree. But I know there was one, like, people keep trying to submit the Nightmare Before Christmas stuff, but they already did the Nightmare Before Christmas brickheads, and that
minifigures.
And the minifigs.
Got it.
Yeah, so you know that they already like have that, and they're making that. They're not gonna let that through ideas until that contract, that particular contract expires.
Well,
it sounds. Oh, sorry.
No, I was saying we've also talked before about the weird ways that licensing works, and why, like it was something about, I'm trying to remember, get it straight in my head, but it was something about like LEGO does not have the license to sell action figures of Marvel characters, but they can sell mini figures of Marvel characters, but like they wouldn't be able to do buildable characters like the Star Wars ones that they do, because that license is owned by someone else. So I'm sure that has something to do with the process as well.
It's really frustrating for people, I'm sure, that think, you know, have a really great build or a really great idea. I see it all the time, like in comments and stuff, and I know the people who like help, you know, moderate the idea stuff, and I know it's like crazy that people put a lot of effort and work into something, and they submit it, and then it gets declined for reasons they don't really know or understand, and it's usually tied up in licensing. So I would say one first bit of advice, if you're going to submit anything on ideas, is read through those rules, because they do list everything that's already like currently an IP that won't get accepted.
Oh, that's good
and
advice.
actually Kim in the chat
Yeah.
brings up an interesting point, is that Sesame Street's not actually owned by Disney. Sesame Street's owned by HBO. So there you go. Like, there's that, like, what is, like the same thing with Marvel and with Spider-Man and the X-Men. There was that whole mishigas about, like, who owned what, and you couldn't do those movies, and these ones you could, and, that's why...
Well, and there's distribution licenses, too, which are, like, kind of a whole nother thing, yeah.
Right, and that's why it's why they couldn't have any of the actual X-Men in the Deadpool movie. They got like special dispensation for Colossus, and like that was about. I think that was all they could do. But yeah, so interesting.
One thought I had as far as, and this isn't inside knowledge, it's more speculation, but as far as say they producing one thing from, what was it? Pixar. So it may not be that they have Pixar, therefore you can't do anything else. It's that specific movie as an IP.
Right.
So if they've already produced a Pixar movie, you can upload a different movie because they don't have the license to that specific movie.
But know that it can change any minute, because that's
that
the
is
other thing
true.
about ideas that's also kind of a challenge is timing, right?
Right.
Like it took me so long to work on that Coraline project because, like I said, most of it I was doing is like digital testing, and so I wasn't really, I didn't have like a deadline in mind. It was just a test project. And as I got to a certain point where I was determined to finish it, all of a sudden I got super paranoid that like somebody else was gonna get the same idea and submit it before me, and then that would have just taken all the wind out of this. In fact, I was working on the so after I finished the house, for kind of while I was working on the house, I started on the garden, like Coraline's garden, to go with it, just for like displaying and exhibiting, and had half a mind that I was going to submit that also, but it was like 2 months I think after I submitted the house that somebody else did submit the garden. I was like, oh, okay, done with that. Not going to even.
Wow.
Well, that's probably really good advice, right? If you have a model that you want to put up on Lego Ideas, might be a good idea to go up and run a search on that thing that you're working on
That's
and
like
see.
step 2. It's like step 1,
For
read
sure.
the rules, and step 2, go look to see if anybody else has already done it. And look, and I didn't just look at ideas. Like I looked across the web to see like what was already out there, and I think I found like one thing that somebody called a Coraline house, but it didn't look like anything at all like it. It was just kind of like a inspired by sort of thing, but it wasn't even, I don't know. It was
Well, I mean, just with my normal mock making, I see that happen. I'll be like, I have this great idea, and then like 3 weeks go by. I have this great idea. Oh no, there it is right there.
all the time. And I think that's probably part of the reason I'm reluctant to like finish anything, because or even start anything. Because I know as soon as I start on something, like somebody else is gonna do it, and then I should do it anyway.
Yeah.
But I just lose that interest. So step 2 is look, and then timing as far as like licensing and all that too, because if you start on a project now, and it's especially if it's something that's like a licensed thing, in 6 months Lego may have a contract with it, and then all of a sudden it's not valid anymore. So it's tough.
Well, and it also might be something that they're already working on, because
Exactly.
the Lego sets take a couple years from like start to finish, so that's a pretty.
Yeah, and there's a lot of speculation I know with like the Ghostbusters headquarters and some other things where people get all up in arms because they're like, oh, so and so submitted that on ideas before Lego released it. You're like, yeah, but it's very possible Lego started on that. Like,
Well, and also too, when you're talking about something as iconic as the Jurassic Park gates, well, your models are probably going to be pretty similar if you're trying to be like super accurate. Then I see, anybody who posts on Instagram, posts their models on Instagram or on Flickr or whatever, can tell you that you are likely to find that somebody else has probably done something similar to what you've already done, just because, especially when in the world of fandom, like there's going to be 100 Flintstone houses, or there's going to be 100 whatever. Thankfully, there's not 100 ship in a bottles or 100 Coraline houses. You guys scored on picking like the stuff.
That's the hardest part. I know Boone has talked about that because we've all been kind of waiting for Boone to submit something, and he's admitted like that's the hard part, is coming up with an idea that nobody else has done, that you can put the time and energy into, that you're interested enough in. I mean, there's a lot of things that kind of have to like perfectly align to really make it worthwhile. So it's not an easy task.
It's very constrained. It seems like even if the creativity of making your own thing is constrained, the process of actually making it through this narrower and narrower and narrower funnel is very constrained.
Absolutely. So it's amazing. I mean, honestly, like for anybody that makes it to 10,000, I know like they always do the review processes, and they always kind of like, every time they announce like which ones make it through that are going to go into production, I always make a point of like giving like huge congrats to everybody that makes it to 10K, because I know it's brutal.
Well,
it's hard enough to get there.
Yeah.
So Alyssa says that I have a lot of friends who aren't Lego people, quote, but have purchased and build Lego idea sets like Ship in a Bottle or the Treehouse, and I think there's at least, I don't know, because we talk a lot about seeing Lego as art supplies, right? Like it's not necessarily a toy to us; it's an art supply. Like when I see a set, a lot of times I don't see the set; I just see all the cool little pieces that are in the set. When I'm talking, like a set you would see on the shelf, like a city set or whatever.
Well, that's how we fell in love with elves, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. But I think that like Lego Ideas is like this, I don't know, for somebody who's not a Lego person, an approach to Lego as art, right? And now they're with the brick sketches and these new mosaics, like they're really leaning into that.
Well, and the packaging too, like the ideas boxes are the only boxes we save, except a very few really big ones.
Yeah, they're really big ones, but
they're very well packaged, and I like that they definitely fill those gaps between kind of your usual stuff. Like I can see why it's so successful and why they keep doing more and more with it, because it's like reaching wider audiences than their typical demographics. And it's really kind of a brilliant platform like for Lego, to kind of feel out new audiences and whatnot. And then the fact that they do package it and make it like about the builders, it just kind of feeds into like more of the AFOL community. It's very supportive of that too.
Yeah.
So I love everything about it, other than how hard it is to get the support.
I love the books too. I think they add so much to the whole project.
Oh,
What's that?
This is interesting. Joel says that, did you know that if you work at a Lego retail store, even after your idea gets 10K votes, you become ineligible because you work for Lego as an employee of the store?
No.
Very, yeah.
I had a question for Jake actually, regarding Lego Masters. I think they said that if you've ever like received any payment or compensation from Lego for anything, I think that includes ideas, right? So
that's not what I was told.
No? Okay.
In fact, I was thinking about applying, and so after I was thinking, I went, oh wait, I'm currently at that time being paid by Lego. So I emailed one of the casting directors, and they got back to me and they said no, because you don't work for Lego as like an employee, that I should be good.
Okay, that's funny because somebody actually suggested you and me as a team.
Wow, I want to see that.
I want to see that.
And I think I replied, well, I don't think he would be eligible because he gets paid for his ideas.
Right.
So I thought this would be a good time to ask.
I want to see the house in a bottle set. But so on that, I will say, so I've it's interesting because while that is initially what they said, things changed and got tighter as the process went along. I'll say that. So I've done work for Lego, but I did not get paid. There was no contract. It was just like I did something for them, and they sent me a set to say thank you. So I was able to, like, that was okay. But I know that there were some other issues with people who were there like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. And then later they're like, oh, like I know a person that I know applied and had worked at Legoland as a designer of parks and things at Legoland. And even though Legoland isn't officially owned by Lego, they were like, oh, it's okay for at first. And then he went through like half the process, and then they were like, oh no, actually not. So it was squishy.
You know, there are just so many levels of people being very careful about the rules. You know,
I'm sure it's like an if in doubt kind of thing. They're going to avoid any sort of conflict.
Yeah, and they're, you know, so there's multiple production companies, and it all ends up with Fox. And there are just, you know, at various points, there are people who just sit there and they're like,
that was a really good one.
we saw it.
That actually happened, and we can't say why and how and where it happened, but there was a person who hardly ever spoke, and it would be like, what about blah blah blah, and then there would just be silence, and then everybody would kind of look at him. Yeah.
It's my husband.
It was very funny.
Disapproving head shake.
So Sane just wanted to shout out to High Retro Brick Studios. Just showed up, and there is okay. Holly is really hard to hear.
Turn my mic up.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
Is that better?
So let's see. What was I?
Down in the beginning because it was too much. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's again the sound on Zoom is not like the greatest thing ever, and it's not super controllable. So, and we're also doing like Zoom via OBS it's like so far removed at this point.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
I have a question.
sure,
You don't have to answer this if you don't want to,
or you can't.
but would you do it again? Or would you be like, you know what, that was so awesome and what a great honor and that was an exciting adventure.
Oh,
What do you
Lego
think?
Ideas.
Yeah,
Lego Ideas. Would you make another set and go through that process with it, you know, or not?
Yes. I'm on my third attempt currently.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Jake,
Oh, yay.
can't stop him.
But I know, but of course, like it's a process, and it's a lot of ups and downs, right? Like I know, like when we were auditioning for Lego Masters, there was just so much waiting and wondering and not knowing, and okay, we'll be deciding here, we'll be deciding then. I mean, I think it's maybe a little easier with Ideas because they make a big announcement, and like, you know, okay, the date that the announcement is coming out is at least going to be around this time, which, you know, we kind of knew they would have to cast us at a certain point.
Yeah, but I went to work every morning for months not knowing, and I was like, oh, maybe today we'll find out.
Yeah.
Maybe today. Well, maybe it was weeks. It wasn't months, but it felt like months.
So I'm interested, like, so for you, Jake, how long was the process from putting it up on Ideas to it coming out on the shelf?
Not sure exactly off the top of my head, but I want to say something around a year and a half.
Okay, so it was
maybe it might have been a little more because mine went pretty fast. It got the votes pretty fast. I think it went to 10,000 in 48 days.
Holy bananas!
Wow.
Yeah, not a record on Lego Ideas, but pretty dang good.
What does hold the record, I wonder? Do you know?
The last that I knew of was, I want to say Minecraft.
Okay, and
Maybe,
I know, like,
I think Voltron went pretty quickly.
and I know Brick and Nick's, like, the Tesla car was like.
He did 48 days too. We talked about it. It was like, yes, we're like the same.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So that part of the process went really quickly, and then it just so happened that the next review period, because you could get to 10,000, and then it might be a few months before you get into because the current review period may just have.
Sure.
In order to get into the current one, you may have to wait because it's already in. So it just so happened that it worked out that it was right near the end of the ability to qualify for the next review.
Oh, cool.
So I actually had to. I hadn't done any digital building at that point. So I had to have one of the younger guys, like 20-year-old kid in my lug, met him at Starbucks or somewhere so he could give me this hour quick rundown of how to use LDD. So he gave me this quick tutorial. I spent the next 2 or 3 days over the weekend trying to do it, and I got it submitted just in time so that it went right into that next review period. So it kind of, a lot of things really lined up right there that it went right into the next one. And then the review period that was before it kind of went long, and so then the review period I was in kind of went a little bit long for their usual, review period, but it wasn't too much longer.
I didn't know that they sorry, I didn't know that they went any longer than like
I think there was some reason that was behind. I think Voltron was in the one before mine, and so it actually got pushed into the same review period because I don't know, whatever reasons, if it was licensing, that they had to keep it to the next one. So mine and Voltron got announced during that.
That makes me nervous now because I know I'm in the record bracket. There's like 26 or something that are.
Yeah,
I was just about to mention that. Yeah, you're like in a record number.
Yeah, there was 12 in the one I was in, and at that point, that was a lot.
Yeah, so I wonder if they're gonna like extend this one, or if I have no idea how. So did you? I don't know if you can answer it, but did you find out that yours was going through before it was announced to the public?
Very shortly. Yeah, so I think they contact you and let you know, and then of course, because while it's in review, it's total radio silence. You don't,
exactly.
They're doing everything in house, and you're waiting. But
I'm in purgatory right now.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's where you're at. So yeah, I contacted, and they wanted to set up a Skype call, and then during the Skype call, they sprung it on me.
Okay.
Nice.
If they let you know if it doesn't get approved too, or if you find out the hard way. I don't know.
Yeah, that one I'm not sure. I
would
think maybe they do let everyone know, but I don't know. I only have the one experience. So
I couldn't decide. So they do the fall announcement because they do one round of announcements in September, and usually they do that one at Lego House in Billund. And I've been there the last couple of years for that, and of course it was always really exciting because I could imagine like, oh, what if mine makes it and I get to be here for this big like celebratory like announcement. So of course this year that's not going to happen one way or the other because it's not happening. But part of me is like, well, maybe that's a good thing because then I won't be there when it doesn't.
Well, so I'm in. Yes, go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right. I'm curious. Are both of you members of Portlug?
No. Jake, Idaho.
I'm in Boise, Idaho, so I'm in Idaho Lug.
Oh, right. I didn't know. I had no idea where you were.
Nobody does. It's okay. Nobody knows.
Well, we found out. We've discovered that that people who watch our stream are from all over the world. Actually.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
It's crazy. You can't tell in a virtual meeting.
So I'm interested, Jake. How did you find working with the Lego Ideas team once like that process was started? Did you have much contact with them, or was it pretty much like we're taking it over and we'll show you when it's done? Or
right. In my case, it kind of was that way, where I didn't really have a lot of say. So when you go into the review, you give them any of your digital files, instructions, anything you have. That's why I had to scramble and to be able to give them the digital files. So when I did that, I also did a bunch of little short videos on my phone showing how different techniques that I used and kind of where the rigging was and
great.
The different steps, kind of a few of the different steps, not like step-by-step instructions, of course. But I feel like I kind of put enough info there that was kind of my input. And then it had to be completely changed anyway, so I didn't have a lot myself. But I think that varies case to case.
Yeah, when you gave them the initial information, did they ask for more, or did you just kind of provide all that?
I kind of just barfed it all out at once.
Because I kind of wondered, like I sent them, I sort of the same thing. I sort of just sent them like everything that I had, and then they didn't really ask for anything more. It was like, okay, that's all we need. I was like, Okay. Cool.
Right, because then they can recreate it in house and go, okay, here's where there might be problems, and they look at your original model and then compare it to what price point they're looking at, or they have a myriad of.
That was the first. I know you guys were asking earlier, like how you feel, how we feel like about Lego redesigning. Like for me, it's basically just a proof of concept. When you submit something to Lego Ideas, that's what it is. It's a proof of concept. It really doesn't say anything else about what that final design is. It's just saying, hey, you should make something like this. So I totally would expect that it would be completely redesigned. In fact, when I met a bunch of those designers a couple years ago at San Diego Comic-Con, I had it on display there, and a bunch of the Lego designers were there because they were doing the panels for Comic-Con. And they came by and they took a look at it, and then we all went out for drinks, and that was kind of like the first question was like, well, how would you feel, about it being like scaled down? Because obviously it's a big, like modular size, 3,000 piece set. That's an expensive set. So they're like, how would you feel about it scaled down? It's like, so I've been thinking about it ever since then, which has been a couple of years now, and I've decided that's fine. I mean, I have my own built the way I want to build it that I can keep. So whatever makes it, appeal to the widest audience possible, I think is a good thing. Only thing is, I would wonder like which details are going to get eliminated.
I'm reminded of that scene from Amadeus where is it Salieri is listening to him, has just listened to Mozart play this thing, and he says, well, oh no, it isn't Salieri, it's someone else in the movie. He says there's too many notes.
The Emperor,
The Emperor, right?
It's just too many notes.
And then Mozart's like, well, which ones would you cut?
Yeah, that's right, because I ended up adding on to it. I already hit the 3,000 part limit, which, by the way, that's the limit if you're going to do an ideas project, is you have 3,000 pieces is the limit. And I'd already hit that limit and hadn't even built the basement, which I didn't care to build the basement because, again, it was going to go in my modular lineup, so it didn't, like, the basement didn't really work with that format anyway. But after I had been traveling with it and exhibiting it for a couple of years, and it was like its own standalone thing, I realized the basement was like really, like, it needed the basement because that's a whole part of the film. She has these downstairs neighbors that are kind of critical to the film, and I was like, it's really not complete without the basement. So I just added the basement anyway. But it's like, now you would have to scale it down even more to get the basement into a small enough set. So I have no idea how they would. I did tell Justin though that I was not going to accept microfigs. That was not going to be acceptable.
Well, that's so interesting what you said about it being a proof of concept. We're huge Disney fans, of course, and we've looked a lot at the Imagineering documentation and the design concepts that Disney uses, and it makes me think of concept art, like you've made a watercolor of this finished thing, and then they want to capture that spirit, of it, but there's gonna be changes.
And I'm used to that with my line of work too. Like 75-80% of what I do gets tossed out anyway because I do so much like R&D and pre-production stuff. I'm so used to that stuff being, but I also put a lot of work in. Like I went through my own sort of trial and error in R&D when I was doing this build. So there's a lot of stuff that I tried and threw out myself. So I mean, for no other reason than I want this to get through, just because I do want to see what a designer would do with it. It's like this insatiable curiosity that like has to be satisfied, or I don't know how I'll go on.
So I'm interested, Jake. So now that you're on the other side of it, right, and you're now starting the process again, I'm interested how once it got approved, I think I saw. Did you do some appearances where you like signed sets and stuff?
I went to Salt Lake City is my nearest Lego store, so they flew me out there to do a signing.
Okay, and so how was that? Because we talked about this a little bit on the stream with the Lego Masters last night, and we've talked about it before on the show. Is just that it's so, for us, it was so weird going from like being at Bricks Cascade, going from being guys behind a table and people are like, oh, look at your model is so amazing, I love your model, tell me about your model. And now it's like, oh my god, you're the guys from Lego Masters, tell me about you. So was that weird for you, going from just being kind of like standing behind a table to suddenly being like in the spotlight?
Yeah, for sure, because it was like 3 hours of just writing my name. It was cool, it's weird, but it was cool. Like, no kidding, I almost spelled my name wrong 2 or 3 times just because it's so fast. Like, at some point, someone opened their set and they wanted like one of the big panels signed. So people caught on to that, and so at one point there was several people. It was like, sign the box, sign the manual, sign a panel, and it was okay, whatever. And that kind of got shut down after a while because I was only there for 3 hours and they had so many people there.
By the way, I get the biggest kick out of Jake's autograph, which is completely printed out.
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
I don't do that's how I sign my name. You want my signature? That's how it gets signed.
I was like, really? That's how you autograph? He's like, yeah.
You hold that up against like an image capture for a check?
So
Backwards.
It's not.
So Jake, if I send you the panel for ours, will you sign it and send it back? I'll send you a pre-addressed envelope.
Yeah, I can do that.
Oh, that would be awesome.
It won't be the first time.
It was so funny, like at Bricks Cascade, between you two guys, and I know Flynn. Oh, it was a really funny moment. So I had been like walking around. You talk about trying to hang out with like rock stars, So it was like hanging out with Jake, and like I don't think you could even complete. You were showing me some of your stuff that you built, and like he couldn't even like finish his sentence because he was getting interrupted for like autographs and stuff, right? And then I went to go talk to Flynn about something, and as I approached you, you like asked me if I had a Sharpie. Like I was trying to tell you something, and you were like, "Do you have a Sharpie?" And I was like, "You guys," and you're like autographs. But then it turned out he was actually signing something for me, so then I felt really bad because I totally went off. Like, all right, I don't talk to you guys anymore. You're too popular and famous.
It's funny, Jake, what you say about almost misspelling your name. We were just floored by what Bricks Cascade was like, but people were bringing their shirts up, and they wanted us to sign their shirt, and like signing a shirt quickly in Sharpie, like I was so terrified I was going to ruin their thing that was their special thing, and yet there was people waiting. It was crazy.
Well, and then not only were people waiting, but we were like, when we were doing the receiving line, we were like at the end. So it was, people have already like gone through like 5 other teams and people before they they got to us. So,
like, I don't want to mess up your thing that everyone signed.
I know, it's like,
I feel so bad.
What was left? Like the left shoulder blade or something was all that was left on the shirt at that point?
Yes.
Who would have ever thought that Lego celebrities were like a thing? It's so funny.
Well, I mean, I think that, but I think that's with any hobby, right? Like it makes me think of that episode of Parks and Recreation where Ron Swanson goes to like the furniture making convention, and there's this guy who like makes chairs. He's like, oh my god, it's him! And then they show the guy, and it's just like some guy like just standing. Nobody's talking to him or anything. He's just kind of standing around. He's like, he's the most amazing person ever. So yeah.
Totally bad. Yeah.
But it is interesting.
Well, we talk about how it must be like that for Lego designers too. Like Lego designers, who work at their desk designing these things. Like whether it's Brickmaster Amy and Jamie, or we met Ilya,
Justin,
and then they go to a convention and are mobbed, and they're like, I work with a Wacom tablet and a brick separator.
I would say it's probably the weirdest for the Lego designers too, because they're basically like isolated.
Yeah.
They only work with each other, and they're so far removed from like civilization. So like I know the last couple of times I've gone to Scarebuck, they've been like, they just, at least the ones I know, there's a particular group of them that are just so happy to have like people to hang out with that aren't
that aren't fanning out over them.
I've always said that like I'm a fan of fans. Like it's the same thing like working at Leica. Like when I meet the few like Leica fans that there are out there that kind of like get all excited about it. Like that gets me excited. That's the only thing that I can like relate it to that I personally know. It's like it gets me all excited just that somebody else is excited. So I think it's really cool.
Oh, sorry, Papa Bear, thank you very much.
Papa Bear, thank you for the subscription.
In our headphones.
Yeah, in our headphones it was super loud, so I don't know if anybody else heard that, but dang. All right. Oh, good, because I have it turned down, but we could hear it. I wanted to. Now I forgot what I was talking about.
I want to make a diversion just for a moment here.
Yes, a diversion.
To say that Moto has his wolf head next to him that he just added teeth to, and I think it made such a huge difference, and I love this model that you've made, Moto.
Thanks. I finished it at exactly 10 o'clock on the nose. Hands up, bricks down today. Right as you guys were getting started.
And it's on that cool pedestal now, too.
Well, this is just a box, but yeah, this is the good old Technic black pedestal. It's probably blending into my container box just to keep it
That's what
floor.
the black part I think is cool.
Yeah.
So I think with that, Moto, would that make the 3,000 piece limit on Lego Ideas?
It's gonna be close.
It's
by not a wide margin.
They count the Technic pins, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's done. I'm crooked. I'm done.
Yeah, so you're done. Sorry, man.
I'm done. I'm out.
3,000 pins alone.
Well, you could actually make it on Ideas, but it will be a Brickheads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, in the mini mode, I have a one-piece wolf head, and that's what's going to be produced. Is this beautifully printed little Chima wolf head.
I love those. I love Chima.
Oh, you're frozen. Just so your video is frozen, Moto. Just so you know.
But look how happy you
I know,
are.
but you look really happy right now, so I'm totally down with that.
Well, are you for both Holly and Jake? Are you working on something right now? In addition to Holly, I know you're still very busy with this process. Is there something else? Do you have a pet project?
Yeah, like a not Lego Ideas thing that you're working on currently?
I have probably 3 or 4 that are sitting around not getting worked on. I've had the last couple of months have just been crazy. Everyone knows it's been crazy. So I kind of haven't worked on much of anything. I put some sets together and stuff, but I've had a lot of other things going on. So
that makes me feel so much better knowing.
Yeah, no, my room's a complete mess because I have 4 unfinished projects and the parts to do them.
Yeah.
Like I can't find my muse, I guess.
Well, it's been distracting the last 4 months. Yeah. The world's been distracting.
And I put a ton of effort into my pedal car too. So after I got home from Brick's Cascade, I got that finished, and then it was like I had worked on that for I don't know, a month and a half straight maybe.
We didn't even talk about the pedal car.
We did.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, maybe I said. Oh, I'm sorry.
It, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
Somebody did post the link in the chat, but if somebody else wants to post it in the chat again, that's awesome.
We need another little graphic for Chrome.
To do what?
You know how we have the little graphic for Coral?
Yeah, for Coral. Yes.
I need one for Chrome because I get really excited about Chrome.
Yeah. Hey, we've
Chrome sucks to work with, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Well,
I cracked some pieces, so I ended up having to go back and scrape Chrome off the top of the studs where it's too wide, so that I wasn't cracking
That's
pieces.
why they don't make much of it, man. It's not.
Well, yeah. Well, most of what I have, it's third party, like custom chromed. And so it's really, so I bought a bunch of chrome parts for the pedal car, and they were chromed by someone else, and it's kind of, the chrome is kind of spotty itself, but like the thicknesses varies. So a couple, like a 1x1 brick on top of a stud, I had a couple crack, so I had to go back and scrape chrome off the studs to kind of get it back. It looks really cool on camera.
Those look cool.
It looks amazing.
It sure does.
That's why they don't make and don't want to make chrome, because it messes with the thickness of the part.
Oh,
And then the
well.
clutches.
And yeah,
Oh, of course.
there's too much.
Well, I remember, Jake, we actually talked about that at Bricks Cascade, and you were like, "Oh, I have this thing, and I want to finish it, but I don't know if I know." I was like, "Just wait and do the chrome." Like,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
like,
glad I did, because it would not look. The difference between it was chrome and light bluish gray would
Oh,
be
yeah.
insane. The difference. So, like the whole front bumper's chrome. Part of the wheels, there's chrome.
Oh, you have it right there.
The
Yeah.
one?
The thing. Okay, wait a minute. Oh man. Oh, hang on. Let me get this. Oh, that is a thing of beauty.
The wheels.
Oh, those
the pedals
chrome
and
hubcaps.
Yeah. So everything that's chrome was chromed by someone.
Oh.
Is that chrome wings?
Yeah, the minifigure wings for the head badge.
Nice.
It's beautiful, and I love the
So-
hoses for the windshield frame.
Yeah, that worked
it's
out.
great.
Really well.
Yeah, those are such
Actually-
expressive curves.
There's also like
Wait, Jake, you gotta move the wheel. You gotta show them like the function of it.
oh yeah.
Oh, of course it works. Oh my goodness,
So the
that's
pedals
so
work.
great.
Steering.
Ah.
Oh, and speaking of, just for fun,
Oh.
Oh, there it is. Now we're talking.
that's not on the pictures that are on the Lego ideas, but it's on there.
Well,
That's awesome.
when we get the pedal car, I want to
Yes, when we get it.
I want to make an EV3 or powered up robot that can operate the pedal car.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be legit.
And
It
it
needs
can,
like a pompadour or something though.
yes. And then we'll just make a train, and then we can put put the ship in the bottle and the Coraline house and the pedal car on it, and it'll just be like a whole thing.
We were
What do you-
racking our brains this morning to see if there's anywhere in our house we could possibly do a train layout, but there's not.
There's not.
right now.
Just
Not
for
right
something-
That's
now.
why there's like dedicated like lugs just for trains because they're just that consuming.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the ways we started in the. That's one of the ways that we started in the hobby was we had our. We had got this
nephews,
X-Men set,
our
our famous
niece.
X-Men set story, but our nephews actually gave us their old 9-volt train, like maybe about 6 months after we got into it, and then it ended up becoming the basis not only for California Dreamin' but also for Snake Queen. Like it played heavily into both of those models. Love train stuff, but yeah, I was just like, oh, especially because I want to put now that we have like all the haunted houses, I want to put like all of my haunted
Spooky
houses
town.
in a.
I was gonna do the same thing because the only time I pull the trains out is around Christmas because of course we have like a couple of different Christmas trains and then I took the one from when I was a kid, my little like battery operated train. I kind of like rebuilt that one to add on to it. So I put
Cool.
that's the only time I pull all the train stuff out is for Christmas. But same thing. I wanted to start doing that for Halloween as well.
Oh, that would be so much fun. I want that.
Is it the Keys do Halloween, right?
Oh yeah, one of the guys in our lug, Dan Keys, he and his wife Colleen do an amazing Halloween. They call it Legoween, and they do it in their garage, and like all the people
People
from the
come by,
neighborhood
like a
come
museum.
over. So awesome. Oh, Addison, thank you, Addison Versus, for the subscription. Thank you so much. Appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, what are you at, Jake? Your support number? Do you know?
2,700 something. I want to say 2,730 maybe, just under that.
Good
Well,
luck.
You got at least a year, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Very good.
And I haven't been really promoting recently because I've been
Yeah.
just busy. And
Yeah.
plus, like we were talking about earlier, it's kind of a fine line that you got to run.
Yeah,
Right.
at a certain point.
Spamming and
Yeah, I mean, the trick is always to get other people to share it. That's why, so
Yeah.
everybody in the chat
Right.
needs to go, like, share.
I
That's
I had
only-
a lot of that actually with the ship in a bottle. There was several people in Lego groups who they went and shared it on all kinds of other stuff and just huge backers. collectors. So
That's how it's
that,
done.
yeah, that helps a lot. So
You
please
know-
go do that.
You know, I'm interested looking behind you. We've talked about how the new packaging is aimed at AFOLs and adult
Yeah.
collectors. Look at the packaging behind you on the shelf there. The Stormtrooper helmet. I can't make out all of them, but also the
Yeah, I
Statue
got
of
the-
Liberty.
Yeah.
Is
over
that the
there.
Mandalorian helmet?
Yeah, so I got the Boba Fett. I got all 3 of the Star
Boba
Wars
Fett.
helmets that just came out, and then that's the
Yeah, Lady Liberty.
yeah, the Statue of Liberty,
Yeah.
but it's architecture line.
Yeah, and we saw that with the haunted house that we just put together as well, right?
Yeah, that's a new sort
Yeah.
of
The black background and highlighted.
Yeah.
It's all like you're buying a museum piece here.
Has anyone figured out why it's 18 plus?
Because I think they're trying. Honestly, I think it from a marketing standpoint. You see, we joke about it all the time, right? Like you're putting together a set and it says like ages 6 to 14, and I think
And you're like, this is so hard. I got this wrong.
But I think a lot of adults who already perceive Lego as being for kids would probably be at least somehow in the back of their minds put off by the fact that it says like ages 6 to 10 or whatever.
Right.
So I think that might be a part of it. I'm just talking,
They used to be like expert sets were 16 plus or something like that.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
think so.
expert sets, right?
Yeah, but
Can
I
you
think.
take me off the full screen? I'm sitting here staring at myself.
Oh, you're not.
You're not on YouTube though.
You're not.
Yeah, I think it's only
Here, I can do this
I'm
though.
like,
Here, how about that? Did that
trying to
help?
look at you.
Oh no.
Oh no, we
No,
just
you
kicked him
turned-
out.
No, wait. How did that? There, you
That's
have to
all right.
start
I'll
your
just
video.
look at your little pictures.
No, I just asked you
No,
to. You just have to.
gallery.
You just have to
Gallery.
start your video again. Sorry.
Okay.
Is that better? Are you like off of the big screen now?
No, I'm fine.
There we go. How
There
about
we
that?
go.
All right.
You guys,
Yay.
this is Jake's first Zoom meeting, so
Oh, very well. Welcome. So glad we were able to help you out with that.
I asked him last night how he managed to go this long without getting on Zoom, and what you claim to be a lone wolf or something.
Well, and Holly, I wanted to say also thank you, a big thanks to Holly for setting this up today. I do know Jake, having met and stuff, but I didn't feel comfortable reaching out and asking, so Holly did that for us, and thank you so much for doing that.
Well, Bricks
Yeah, thanks for
Cascade
doing
was just such madness. It was just so surreal.
Yeah, it was
this is
Yeah.
a
But
lot
yeah, you
calmer.
guys can reach out to me. That's cool.
Oh,
Awesome,
cool.
thanks.
I'm curious.
Lots of people do.
So you can see part of our collection here behind, our organization system behind this table full of things we've put together. And we have on the other side of the room too, labels. We have labels on everything. And you both have dozens of drawers with no labels on them. Do you have like perfect memories, or how do you deal with that?
As far as
can you
mine,
see the piece?
some of it's a little random, but yeah, because you can kind of see through. But I've kind of my goal when I get more stuff is mine's organized basically in like the bricklink categories. So if I go to this, it's like, say you're on the parts page where you can click on bars and it shows all the bars. So like I'm kind of organized that way, so I know which one has all the bars. I know which
Wow.
one there. I've spent tons and tons of time on bricklink just looking through different parts, because I know I'll find some parts I've never even seen before that were around that I didn't know about, and so they're kind of like that. But I just
Whoa,
haven't
cool.
bothered to tape a part to the front.
Yeah, I just had
That's
exactly-
the first time I've heard that.
I haven't gotten around. I mean, mine are organized the same way. It's like in rows by by types and by like increments. So I start with the smallest plates to largest plates, and they're kind of in
Yeah.
order like that. So I know roughly where they are, and then it becomes almost like muscle memory. It's not like Lego Masters
Yeah.
where somebody's coming in and changing them all the time. They kind of
Yeah.
generally stay in the same spot. So I mean, I have a system, so I know roughly where they are, and I sometimes just pull out like 4 drawers at a time if I'm not sure.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Yeah.
Yeah, and part of it's kind of fluid too, because I'm still getting more containers, so I don't want to go tape parts on all of them,
Yeah.
knowing that I'm going to have to change all that out.
Yeah, we
Well,
talked
we
about
have that thing. They graduate to larger and larger containers.
Yeah, we talked on that about our organization episode. So my next idea, which I just haven't had time to do it yet, is I'm going to cut up little bits of command strip and try
Yeah.
putting plates where I can, where the fit. The problem is some of my drawers, like if I've got long, like 1x8 plates, they're gonna fit in there lengthwise. I'm not gonna be able to put that on the front.
Yeah,
right.
But I can put, you know, like 8 plate on one drawer, like on one row, and kind of like, you know, at least like label the rows. So I know where things are. I think that'll help.
Yeah, like signposts. Well, I mean, every sorting, every time, I don't know about you, but every time we sort is a memory exercise anyway, because we've got 67 piles on the table that have never existed before.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, even though we have labels, it was like you were talking about, like once you work in your studio long enough, you just kind of start to know where things are, as long as they get put back in the right place.
Yeah, so now not only do we label containers, but all of our containers are in bookshelves, so now we have to label the shelf. This is where all the round things go.
Yeah, I've got a couple rolling racks from Home Depot that have a lot of these like shoebox ones.
Yeah, we have dozens of shoeboxes.
Yeah, so what I mostly have in these are kind of rough sorted, quote unquote, where it's, say I'll have all, as I'm going through, all the round plates will go in one, all the round bricks, all the wedges, all the wedge plates. So I have a bunch of those, and then I go to find sorted into the drawers. So I have a lot that are partially sorted. So if I'm looking for something that's in that, I'll just grab one of those boxes and find the part in there.
That's what I do too. If I'm going through sorting, I just kind of do it by bulk. Like I'll take all my slopes and just put all my slopes in one bin and like, okay, done for now. And then like, as time allows or I start getting into building, then maybe I'll start actually like separating things a little bit more.
Those sub-sorts.
Sorry, I have like a back, so I have these, which are like iris containers. They're not actually the acro mills that like everybody else uses, because I wanted everything in here like white and clean and everything.
Yeah.
But then I do have old acro mills that I've retired, so those are sort of in my like storage area, and then those are going to be like, I basically kind of expected that it's going to continue to grow, and so I'm trying to sort between like bulk and specialty pieces. So I'm trying to keep like the smaller drawers for like those parts that you were talking about, where if you only have like 10 of a certain thing, that those will go kind of in these smaller drawers, and then I have like bigger drawers where I'm going to put like, you know, the pick a brick stuff that I can dump into.
Oh yeah, that's one of the hardest things. Those ones you're like, okay, so the 1x1 round trans clear plate with a bar on it. I only have 6 of them, and I have 100,000 pieces. So where do you put them?
Right now I do the same thing as Jake. I just kind of combine them with like type parts, you know, category. But I'm trying to get like where I'm getting more of certain of those like specialty parts where I can like put them in a drawer by themselves.
Yeah, some of those little like special detail that have the print, I have those in small bags. Or one thing that I've picked up several times from thrift stores, and I can't see any right now, but they're like pill organizers, the little Sunday, Monday, Wednesday.
Oh yeah.
So I found some, like a bunch of those at thrift stores. So I have a bunch of little 1x1 round tile with this print, with that print, with this print.
Yeah, that's kind of like the little tiny things that Flynn and Richard said you guys used to use, you know, with the little
snap lids. I actually just had somebody on Facebook tag me about like, would this make good Lego storage? And it was like a tall drawer thing for like letter-set or like printing, where you would put the little letters that you would do for actual book printing. And the cool thing about it though is it's not like square, it's like slanted. It's like at a 45-degree angle, and the drawers come out at a 45-degree angle.
For typesetters.
Yeah, for typesetting. Sorry, that's what I was trying to say.
Or letter press or whatever.
Yeah, and so, but the problem was though that all of the little areas were so small that we don't have that many things in that small of an amount that it would make sense. But it was really cool. Right. Like it would have been a great thing.
Yeah, one of my best friends years and years ago, when I first started kind of getting into like really organizing my stuff, she was a letterpress artist, and I actually considered they had like a co-op where they had a bunch of those drawers and stuff, and I started like for half a second considered that, and then I landed on the same thing where like the little compartments were so small, I was like, I'm never gonna be that organized.
Yeah. Well, and one more thing, sorry, real quick.
No, please do.
For like your either round or square. But for printed tiles, another thing that I learned from a friend here is if you have a lot of base plates, because you can say you have 10 of this same printed tile, you can just stick a row of those on a base plate, then you skip a stud so you can get your thumb under there. But if you have several base plates, you can just put them all on that, and then they stack up, and it takes very little room. You can slide that into a drawer.
Like an index or a palette.
We have a lot of
exactly.
We have a lot of printed tiles.
Yeah, I just keep them in
and they're upside down.
Yeah, I keep them in one of those hardware. We were kind of showing off our little hardware containers that we have of various types, and I have one of those where like the lid, snaps down, and it's got the little like adjustable dividers and stuff. That's what I use for all the little printed and specialty pieces.
It's like organization systems are a sub hobby.
Yeah. Are we allowed to talk about the IKEA thing, or should we not?
Well, you know what? I just saw it and I'm amazed. And our IKEA, I haven't had good luck during staying home with our personal IKEA being able to. I think they're having trouble so far. But I can't wait for these. Are you talking about the things that are just come out?
Yeah, and then there's like you can apply. There's like an application for.
Yes, for testers.
I don't know if we're supposed to talk about it. Like.
Are we? Didn't I see it on? I thought I saw it on the web in public.
Like everybody knows about it, but there was like a little disclaimer that's like you can talk about it, but don't talk about it. It's really weird.
Yeah. So
well, we don't want to get in trouble.
That's a thing that you can go look for. We'll just say that.
Yeah, there's an IKEA thing out there that you should be looking for. But I was thinking I might apply because my room's basically an IKEA showroom, so as it is. I don't know how, as far as those little containers that we've seen, though, I don't know if I was like, it seems like it was hyped up a lot because I know that there's been a collaboration in the works for a long time, and so I was kind of curious to see what they were going to come up with as far as storage systems and stuff, and it wasn't, what I've seen so far is not what I imagined, so I hope that there's a lot
Well, we'll see. It's a developing story, as they say.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to thank you both, Holly and Jake, for coming on today and talking about your LEGO Ideas experience. I know that it's something that is a discussion among a lot of people, and a lot of people don't really know the details or what it's actually like or what you have to do to get there. And so thank you so much for coming on and sharing your experiences and what that was like for you. And again, thank you, Holly, for setting it up, and Jake for coming on. We really appreciate it.
And what a treat to get to spend time with you in a calm environment, where we're not also at the same time worried that someone's going to knock our model off the table onto the floor.
Right.
Yep.
But I look forward to that again, too.
Yeah, for sure.
Q&A, is there any questions from like the chat people? Like while we have Jake here, our regional ideas expert here.
Oh, I think I've caught up with most of the questions about it in the chat. Yeah, but we can always have you back again, of course. And,
if you want, please come back.
Yeah, absolutely. And we, just as a reminder to everybody, sorry, you guys will be here for our little closing comments, or you can go if you need to. But just everybody remember that our build contest for this week, our build challenge, sorry, for this week, the theme is 10. And I know that sounds really weird, but it's actually Richard and mine's 10th anniversary on Friday, the day that it's coming out, and everybody in the chat wanted to do something that had something to do with that. So we chose 10 as the theme.
Anything to do with the number 10.
So anything that means 10 to you is up for grabs. And there's no size limit.
Yeah, as a reminder, this one, make it as big or small as you want. Just make sure we can see it in the photos.
And we will be doing one of our how-tos tomorrow, but we will surprise you with that. That's going to be. It's a surprise even to us. So and we will be opening the
viewer mail.
The viewer mail that we got from LEGO, which is very exciting. And we'll also be announcing the big thing I was talking about earlier, if we can hit 2K subscribers, a thing. will happen.
A thing will happen.
It will trigger a thing. But anyway, thanks everybody.
That was very D&D.
It was. It will trigger a thing. Thanks everybody so much for joining us today, and thanks again, Jake and Holly, and thank you, Moto, wherever you may be. And we will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. And don't forget, we are no longer broadcasting on Thursdays. Thursdays are now not a thing that's happening. Oh, I see Moto's popping back on to say goodbye. So yeah, Matthew Ashton's interview this last Thursday was our last Thursday, and if you haven't seen it already, you should go watch it because he was delightful and it was super fun. So thanks so much for that. And what's up, Moto? You're back for a goodbye.
Muted.
Oh, he's muted. All right.
He's unmuted.
I just want to say goodbye. That's
all. Awesome. Well, we need to have a well, actually, before we go, can you just give us a quickie look at your awesome wolf head, and then I think we should have you on the show later in the week, Moto, to just have you on to talk about this project because it's amazing. So. Let's take a...
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah, of course.
I think we had time. That's why I waited to join at the very end just to say goodbye, but... I even dismounted the camera today so I could try to... And this thing is so heavy, it's dragging on the bed sheet. Let's try to get the lighting right, too.
I'm still amazed by the eyes. I think the eyes are so well done.
Yeah, they're really expressive and...
That was a cool technique, but let's see if I can angle this properly.
There's teeth.
Nice.
Oh, those teeth.
Nice job.
Amazing.
Look at those molars.
Yeah, I got the molar pattern down. I've been staring at wolf mouth photos way too much.
I like the red roof of the mouth is nice too.
Yeah, and you can't if I try to get the light just right.
That's one of those things you never think you would actually like search on the internet. Wolf mouth photos.
I'm sure I'm gonna get a bunch of advertisements now.
Would you turn it partly sideways too, so we can see the length of the snout?
Yeah, I did want to show that I did rework the nose a little bit. I put it's black on black, but there's those bionicle joints.
Mm-hmm.
Or make the nostrils, and I slammed them onto the faucet pieces just to get them on there.
I can barely see it. Yeah.
That's amazing.
There you go. If you catch the light just right, you can kind of see it.
Oh yeah, turn it back.
Yeah. There it is.
Yeah, you can see a shine on it.
That's gorgeous. Well, Moto, I would like to. Would you be willing to come on later in the week and talk about this piece?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I could pick like I was going to say, I was going to try to pick up the camera and show you guys kind of some of the plating method going around the side where I finish off some of the stuff.
That'd be nice. Yeah, the structure on it's cool.
Yeah, I think this definitely requires an episode to talk about because this is incredible.
You've streamlined the structural skeleton of it too.
Yep.
It seems like it's
up quite a bit
and reinforced it a lot.
I was saying, and now we're in a space station.
Yeah, now you're in the. That's what the inside of my head looks like when I think.
I can imagine.
And there's always the public facade. But yeah, not enough time. But yeah, a quick preview for anybody who's interested. Hopefully my home internet will hold up to be able to do that stuff. But there it is.
We'll sort it out. Thank you so much, Moto. It's been great to watch
sort it out.
Yeah, exactly. It's been so fun to watch this project come along over the past few months on our stream. Just like paying a visit, stopping in for a visit every once in a while, and seeing how the work's going. So the
big 3-week break and then coming back to us just to get it done was nice.
And it's always pretty sci-fi between the washer and dryer. They look like portholes in your spaceship.
Yeah. I feel like they're airlocks, but I probably won't crawl into it to demonstrate.
Good.
Well,
you may never see Moto again.
No, never see me again. I disappear.
Well,
good to meet Jake, and great show tonight. I was watching from the chat whenever I was kicked off, but great discussion.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Moto. And yeah, I will contact you and we will talk about what day you should come on this week and talk about that awesome model. So,
whenever you guys want.
Thank you, everybody, so much for joining us and being on a panel and commenting and listening and being here. And thank you to all of our new subscribers today. Wow. And if you are here and haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. We would so appreciate it.
Yeah, if you're new, you're seeing just one of just, we have so many days with just amazingly talented builders. I feel so fortunate that we get to hang out. It's like a super awesome mini convention.
Absolutely. All right, thank you, everybody. We will see you tomorrow. We will see you tomorrow. We will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. All right. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.